We all remember that feeling of freedom when our parents left us home alone for the first time. The house felt bigger, the silence felt heavier, and every creak of the floorboards sounded like footsteps. For most kids, the scariest thing that happens is a thunderstorm or a scary movie on TV. But for the people in these stories, the fear was real. The monsters weren't under the bed, they were trying to get in the front door. Here are 4 scary, true childhood home alone stories that will make you double-check your locks tonight.
Story 1. The Gas Man. This happened when I was about 12 years old. My parents had gone to a dinner party a few blocks away, and they let me stay home to play video games. It was around 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, so it was already dark outside. I was sitting in the living room, focused on my game, when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, and my parents always told me, never open the door for strangers. I paused the game and crept to the front hallway. I looked through the peephole. Standing on the porch was a man in a blue uniform. He held a clipboard and looked impatient. I didn't open the door. I just yelled through the wood, "Who is it?" "Gas company," the man said. His voice was muffled. "We have reports of a leak in the neighborhood. I need to check your meter in the basement." Now, being 12, I knew gas leaks were dangerous, but I also knew I wasn't supposed to let anyone in. "My parents aren't home," I said stupidly. "Come back later." There was a long pause. Then the man said, "Kid, if there's a leak, the house could explode. I need to come in now." I hesitated. I reached for the deadbolt, but something stopped me. My dad was a stickler for ID. "Show me your badge," I said, putting my eye back to the peephole. The man held up a card, but he held it too close to the lens. I couldn't see it. "I can't see it," I said. Suddenly, the man's demeanor changed. He slammed his fist against the door. Bang! "Open the damn door, kid," he shouted. He wasn't acting like a professional anymore. Then I saw movement behind him. A second man ran up from the bushes. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He was wearing a black hoodie and holding a crowbar. My heart stopped. This wasn't a gas check. "He's not opening it," the first man yelled to the second. "Just pop it." The guy with the crowbar jammed it into the doorframe. I heard the wood splintering. I screamed and ran to the kitchen, grabbing the landline phone. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely dial 911. Crack! The doorframe was giving way. 911, what is your emergency?" "Someone is breaking in," I screamed. "They have a crowbar." I ran to the back pantry and locked myself inside, clutching a kitchen knife. I could hear the front door fly open. Heavy boots stomped onto the hardwood floor. "Check the upstairs," a voice growled. "Find the kid." I held my breath, tears streaming down my face. I heard them tearing the living room apart. Then I heard sirens wailing in the distance. "Cops!" one of them shouted. "Let's go!" I heard them run out. I stayed in that pantry for 10 minutes until the police dispatcher told me it was safe to come out. When the police searched the area, they didn't catch the men, but they found something on the front porch that still haunts me. They found a roll of heavy-duty duct tape and a box of large trash bags. The police told my parents that these weren't burglars looking for a TV. Burglars don't bring trash bags. They were looking for me. Story 2. Hide and Seek. I grew up in a very large, old Victorian house. It had 3 floors and a lot of empty rooms. When I was 10, my cousin, who was the same age, came over to stay while my parents were out grocery shopping. We decided to play hide and seek. It was my turn to count. I stood in the kitchen, eyes closed, counting to 50. "Ready or not, here I come," I yelled. I checked the usual spots, behind the curtains, under the dining table. Nothing. The house was dead silent. I went up to the second floor. I walked down the hallway, checking the bedrooms. I checked under my bed. Nothing. Then I heard a creak coming from the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor was mostly used for storage. It was dusty and filled with old furniture covered in sheets.
"I hear you," I shouted, trying to sound brave. I slowly walked up the narrow stairs. The attic door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. "Gotcha!" I yelled. But the room was empty, just piles of boxes and old chairs. Then I heard a giggle. It came from inside an old wardrobe in the corner. I smiled. My cousin was terrible at staying quiet. I tiptoed over to the wardrobe. I grabbed the handles and yanked the doors open. "Found you!" Empty. There was nobody inside, just some old coats. My smile faded. "Okay, very funny," I said. "Come out now." Then I heard it again, a giggle. But this time it didn't come from the room. It came from above me. I looked up. In the ceiling of the attic, there was a small access hatch to the crawl space under the roof. The hatch was slid open just a crack. Through the darkness of that crack, I saw an eye, a human eye, wide and bloodshot, staring down at me. It wasn't my cousin. I froze. The eye blinked. Then a dirty finger slowly poked out and pointed at me. A raspy voice whispered, "You're it." I screamed and fell backward, scrambling down the stairs on my hands and knees. I ran all the way to the front yard, screaming for my cousin. I found him sitting on the front porch swing. "Where were you?" I yelled. "I've been here the whole time," he said. "I went outside to hide, but the door locked behind me. I've been knocking for 10 minutes. If he was outside, then who was in the attic? We ran to the neighbor's house and called the police. They sent a canine unit in. The dog went straight to the attic and started barking at the ceiling hatch. They found a man living in the crawl space. He had been up there for weeks. He had a sleeping bag, food wrappers, and a collection of Polaroids, pictures of me and my family sleeping in our beds. Story 3. The Shadow in the Yard. This happened during a blizzard in 2010. I was 14. School was canceled and my mom was a nurse working the night shift, so I was home alone for the night. The snow was coming down hard. By 10 p.m., the power went out. The house went pitch black. I had a flashlight and my phone, so I wasn't too worried. I sat in the living room, wrapped in a blanket, watching the snow pile up against the sliding glass door leading to the backyard. The backyard was huge and backed up into a dense forest. With the snow falling, everything outside was white and gray. I was staring out at the trees when I noticed something. About 50 yards out, near the edge of the woods, there was a dark shape. It looked like a person standing perfectly still. I rubbed my eyes. "It's just a tree stump," I told myself. I looked away, checking my phone. 5 minutes later, I looked back up. The shape was closer. It was now in the middle of the yard, and it wasn't a stump. It was definitely a person. They were wearing a dark coat, standing knee-deep in the snow, facing the house. They weren't moving, just watching. I felt a cold sweat break out. I turned off my flashlight so they couldn't see me inside. I crouched behind the sofa, peeking over the top. Every time I blinked, the figure seemed to get closer. 10 yards away, 5 yards away. Then they were standing right in front of the glass door. I held my breath. A flash of lightning lit up the yard, and for a split second I saw his face. He was wearing a ski mask, but the eyes, the holes were cut too wide. I could see he was smiling. He raised a gloved hand and placed it gently on the glass. He didn't try to open the door. He just traced a line down the foggy glass with his finger. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out something shiny. A key. My house key. My stomach dropped. We kept a spare key under a fake rock near the patio. He had found it. I heard the lock click. The handle turned. I didn't wait. I bolted up the stairs, ran into my parents' room and locked the door. I pushed the heavy dresser in front of it and dialed 911. I could hear heavy, wet boots walking around downstairs. I heard him open the fridge. I heard him turn on the TV, which didn't work because of the power outage. He was just hanging out. The police arrived about 15 minutes later. I heard them shout, "Police, get on the ground!" There was a struggle, then silence. When I came downstairs, the police had him in handcuffs. It turned out to be a guy who had been fired from my dad's landscaping company a few months prior. He knew exactly where the spare key was. But the scariest part, when the police searched his pockets, they found a roll of duct tape and a handwritten note. The note just had a time written on it, 3 a.m. He had entered at 11 a.m. He was just waiting for me to fall asleep. Story 4. The Baby Monitor. When I was 11, I had a baby brother who was only 6 months old. My parents had to run an emergency errand to the hospital because my grandmother had fallen, so they left me in charge of the baby for 2 hours. The baby, Leo, was asleep in his crib upstairs. I was downstairs in the den watching movies. My parents had a video baby monitor set up. It sat on the coffee table next to me, showing a grainy, black and white view of the crib. About an hour in, I heard a static noise come from the monitor. I looked over. Leo was sleeping peacefully. But then I saw something move in the corner of the screen. The camera was positioned on a dresser across the room. In the bottom right corner of the screen, underneath the crib, a hand reached out. I blinked, thinking it was a glitch. The hand reached out again, grabbed one of the baby's dropped pacifiers from the floor, and pulled it back under the crib. My blood ran cold. I sat there, paralyzed. Someone was under the crib. I wanted to run out of the house, but I couldn't leave Leo. I had to get him. I grabbed a heavy metal baseball bat from the hallway closet. My legs felt like jelly as I walked up the stairs. Every step felt like a mile. I reached the nursery door. It was cracked open. I could hear soft breathing. I pushed the door open. The room was dark, lit only by a nightlight. I walked over to the crib, grabbed Leo, and held him tight to my chest. He started to cry. "Shh," I whispered, backing away toward the door. I looked down at the gap beneath the crib. In the darkness, I saw 2 eyes reflecting the light of the nightlight. "Is your mommy home?" A voice rasped from under the bed. It was a woman's voice. I didn't answer. I turned and ran. I practically threw myself down the stairs, carrying Leo, and burst out the front door into the street. I banged on the neighbor's door until they opened up. Police swarmed the house. They found a woman hiding in the nursery closet. She had moved from under the crib when I ran. She was homeless and suffering from severe mental illness. She told the police she had been living in our house for 3 days. She said she liked to watch the baby angel sleep. To this day, I can't look at a baby monitor without checking under the crib first. Those were 4 true stories of childhood home alone nightmares. It makes you realize that sometimes the safety of your own home is just an illusion. Which story scared you the most? Was it the man in the attic or the face in the window? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to hear more true horror stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You never know when you might need a reminder to lock your doors. Stay safe.